Do you remember the statement from Jacob Hacker at the Tides Foundation Forum in 2008? We played it over and over again.
Someone once said to me, this is a Trojan horse for single payer. And I said, well, it's not a Trojan horse, right? It's just right there. I'm telling you.
The Tides Foundation. Huh. That organization's starting to become more clear now, isn't it? There it is, Tides Foundation saying exactly what the president just verified. Now, you add this to what we played for you about what Van Jones has said in the past. Listen.
One of the things that has happened, I think, too often to progressives is that we don't understand the relationship between minimum goals and maximum goals. Right after Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat, if the civil rights leaders had jumped out and said, okay, now we want reparations for slavery, we want redistribution of all wealth, and we want to legalize mixed marriages. If that had been there, they had come out with a maximum program the very next day, they'd have been laughed at. Instead, they came out with a very minimum program. We just want to integrate these buses. The students, a few years later, came out with a very minimum program. We just want to sit at the lunch counter. But inside that minimum demand was a very radical kernel that eventually meant that from 1954 to 1968, complete revolution was on the table for this country. And I think that this green movement has to pursue those same steps and stages. Right now we're saying we want to move from suicidal gray capitalism to some kind of eco-capitalism where, at least we're not, fast-tracking the destruction of the whole planet. Will that be enough? No, it won't be enough. We want to go beyond systems of exploitation and oppression altogether.
Oppression, exploitation, and oppression. Wait a minute, those are the words that I hear from the story of stuff in the Tides Foundation. Exploitation and oppression, that's liberation theology. Wait a minute, that's what D'Souza talks about in his book. Listen to their own words. Don't take my word for it. Listen to their words. If they're following a plan, which the president verified last night, that health care was the minimum demand, and inside is, what did Van Jones just say, a radical kernel that has revolution on the table, where exactly are we progressing to? This is why the Tides Foundation, this is why George Soros and this administration has done what no other group in an administration, no other political party has ever done to anyone in the history of America. You see, they can't figure out how I know exactly what they're doing. And it drives them crazy. I'm exposing them and telling you, and then you're doing your own homework, and then you're exposing them. That can't last. Well, no, but maybe I could teach you how I figure it out. What do you say we do that next? I've been telling you for a while, you have to think differently. You have to think out of the box. You can't approach the thinking and what's going on in our country with a traditional point of view and ideology. The people in Washington are not thinking like you are. Remember, they're the people who say, you are not worthy, strong, smart, loving, charitable, able, creative, peaceful. They don't think like you. They're not thinking like capitalists who just want to calm things down and restore our economic engine. Take it from Van Jones and almost everybody else in the administration, from their own words. Do not take my word for it. Use their words. They want to progress past old gray capitalism into something they call eco-capitalism, and then go beyond that, go beyond the systems of exploitations and oppression altogether. Now, you've learned on this program what those key words mean. Oppressive, oppression. Where does that come from? Liberation theology. What you're doing, and what I have not been doing, is you've been thinking like a politician, and I don't mean to say that you haven't. Your neighbors haven't. Been thinking like a politician. This is what I did in the book Broke. I got together with like 35 experts and I said, okay, give me the solutions. We have to come up with solutions. These are the 3 questions that are the most asked of me. How did we get here? Is it really that bad? And how do we get out? So I spent over a year on this book. And the one thing I said is, do not tell me things that are standard, that we think, oh yeah, well, we can do that. I don't want to hear about those. I want to hear what we must do. And that's what the Tides Foundation did. If they're a progressive, they said, what must we do? And that box is this big. And it is fundamentally transform America. And I've been trying to show you this box the whole time. Here's healthcare. They told you, no, we're not trying to, no, we're only doing this. With DHS, no, we're only doing this. With the FCC, no. At some point, they have all the structure in, and now you can see the whole picture because you haven't been thinking outside of the box. And you realize they've just created something entirely different. It's typical. It's typical of us and of me, quite honestly, because I always believed that people believe the same thing that I did. I mean, we disagree on things, but we have a genuine love for the Constitution and the country and the founding and everything else. They don't. This is why people from the Eastern Bloc, people who have moved here and have seen that bigger box, they say the same thing every time. Americans, what is wrong with you? The answer is we're trusting. We're good people. We're innocent. They're counting on us in Washington saying, oh, that's silly. They wouldn't do that. Why would they do that? Why would they want to build a new structure inside our current system? That doesn't make any sense. Exactly. Exactly. Unless you're seeing a different structure entirely, and you need the pieces to be able to erase the old box lines. All they need is the emergency to turn it on. The president just admitted to this very thing with all progressive bills. The structure is there so we can progress. That means erase the lines. That's why you are such a danger. That's why I can tell you, I can see them coming a million miles away. I can tell you what they're going to do. I can tell you what they're working on. They don't know how. I know how they move. How? Because I don't think inside the lines that they are so desperate for you to see. You're getting evidence every day. This is why they never correct what I say. They don't take me down on what I said in context. No, they can't. They don't mention the things that I've said in context. Why? Because I'm right. They'll just tell you that I'm dangerous. They'll plant seeds against me. They will smear me, etc. Whatever. I'm dangerous. Juan Williams is dangerous. You're dangerous. Whatever. Think outside of the box and we'll survive. Tonight we've been talking a little bit about the concept of I am and I am not. The choice that is before America this next Tuesday. The difference between you can't and yes I can. It is something that we must teach ourselves. But everything has been made so complex. It's really not that hard. It's really not. They want things to seem complex to you, but common sense is common sense. That's where we need to root ourselves again. Sure, our problems are big. So we take them. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. That's how you do it. Not that I'm advocating. No, yes I am. Eat elephants. Kill them in horrible ways. That's why I put this, Media Matters will have that out of context, like that. That's why I put this book out. In it, it has common sense. And I want you to know that it is not, this isn't the easy thing. This is going to hack off a lot of people. I wanted to show you that we can take on the big things and still make it. I didn't take on, well, I did take on the Department of Education in this, but I also took on the Department of Defense. There are ways we can cut. And I wanted to show you that we must start with our own sacred cows. My sacred cow is the Department of Defense. But we can protect our country and still use common sense and save tons of money. This I wrote as a, I mean, you look at, I mean, this is just mine. This I wrote as a textbook, that you can use it, homeschoolers can use it, you can use it for yourself. It's good for grandpa, and it is good for your 14-year-old. It is history. It is, I mean, you think my hair went white because of just George Soros? No, the second part of it is how bad things really are. But it ends well. The solution. What is the solution? Read it, and then start dedicating your life to saying, yes, I can. Hope to see you this weekend and Sunday night, special edition of the Glenn Beck program. Sunday, I think it's at 5 o'clock. Searching for George Washington and George Bailey. We'll see you then. From New York, good night, America.